a man sees heaven. In the ancient lands between Canaan and Haran, a fleeing sun sleeps on a cold stone under a vault of stars. You are about to witness how a dream becomes a covenant promise and changes a life forever. As the sun sets, Jacob slips away from his father's tents because he fears his brother Esau and follows his mother's counsel to seek a safer house in Haran. His departure is not only flight, but a turning point. He carries the weight of stolen blessing and a fragile hope for a new start. That night, Jacob finds a place to rest in the open fields. Alone beneath a sky of stars, he prepares a crude bed with a stone for a pillow. The silence presses in. His solitude sets the stage. The world he knows feels distant and uncertain as he tries to sleep. In his sleep, Jacob sees a ladder or stairway set on the earth, with its top reaching into heaven. Angels are moving up and down upon it. The vision is strange and charged. In that dream, heaven and earth are not distant, they are pierced, connected by movement and purpose. Then the Lord stands above the ladder, not in human form, but as a presence of light, and speaks. He identifies himself as the God of Abraham and Isaac. He promises Jacob land, descendants as numerous as the dust, and blessing for all families of the earth through him. The words carry covenant weight. As the dream continues, God assures Jacob, "I am with you. I will keep you." He promises presence and protection on the journey to Haran. This assurance is not a vague comfort, but a covenantal guarantee tied to the promises given to Jacob's forefathers. For a fearful fugitive, this changes everything. In that same dream, God repeats the promise of land and multiplies the assurance. Jacob's offspring will inherit the land and be a blessing. This ties Jacob into the grand narrative begun with Abraham. The vision broadens his destiny from personal escape to the carrying forward of divine promise. When morning comes, Jacob wakes with his heart pounding. The dream lingers like a scent. He feels both awe and fear. He realizes that the place is holy ground because God spoke there. The emotional shift is immediate. What started as a desperate rest becomes an encounter that demands response. As the vision settles, Jacob takes a stone and sets it up as a pillar and pours oil on it, signs of vow and sacred marking in that culture. He names the place Bethel, house of God. Then he makes a vow. If God will be with him, protect him, provide, and bring him back, then the Lord will be his God, and this stone will be God's house. Jacob's vow is conditional and very human. He asks for provision, safe return, and a life free from the sword. He promises worship and vows to tithe if God fulfills these promises. This reveals Jacob's bargaining faith. He seeks security, but also binds himself to God in response to divine initiation. As Jacob speaks his vow, his fear slowly shifts to resolve. He now carries a promise that ties him to Abraham and Isaac and gives meaning to his exile. The dream reframes his journey. No longer just escape, it is participation in a covenant that will shape nations. His identity is being remade. After he marks the stone, Jacob names the place Bethel, meaning house of God, because here God revealed himself. Naming the location anchors the memory and ties future generations to this encounter. In ancient culture, naming a place seals the story. Bethel becomes a sacred waypoint in Israel's history. It is important to understand why this matters. By appearing to Jacob, God reaffirms the Abrahamic covenant and assures continuity despite Jacob's flaws. The latter image shows that divine activity crosses boundaries, and that God will be present in the family line, even through deception and exile. That is the theological core of the chapter. When Jacob packs up, he walks east toward Haran with a new weight on his shoulders. He carries the pillar and the vow in his memory. The promise will shape his choices, his fears, and later the conflicts that form the Israelite story. The dream did not erase his past, but it redirected his future. As he leaves, Jacob vows to return and build a house for God and to consecrate his giving. This ritual response is how ancient people preserved divine encounters. Bethel will become a memory place, a site for later pilgrimage, and a theological landmark in Israel's memory. Finally, we see why Genesis places this chapter here. Jacob's encounter links the patriarchal promise through another generation. The vision foreshadows ongoing divine involvement. Even a man of imperfect character becomes an instrument of the covenant. The scene explains how God preserves the promise despite human failure. In the end, Genesis 28 teaches that God meets people in their weakness and continues the covenant across generations. Jacob's dream shows that heaven and earth are joined, and that God's presence makes an exile into a calling. If this story moved you, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell so you do not miss the next one.